Hong Kong Direct is your weekly racing roundup full of news, views, interviews, previews and special guests. And coming up on a big show today, HKR kicks off next week. Of course, the Group 1's a week on Sunday. Wednesday night, it's the Longines International Jockeys Championship. Some of the world's best riders lining up on Wednesday night at Happy Valley for their share of $800,000. That kicks off the week then on Wednesday. Now, I'm flying solo on the show today. We've got so much to pack in. We'll be catching up with Karis Teetan a little bit later. Last year's winner of the IJC, Steve Railton, who's a steward here and chairman of the licensing committee, who's been chasing these jockeys to get them to line up on a Wednesday night. And we'll hear from Casper Fans a little bit later on the show as well about his chances of the weekend. Of course, we've got a program coming up on Sunday, a turf and all-weather program to look at there. But IJC is our main focus, and two new names on the list who have a big fan base in the UK and Europe, but a new names to us here in Hong Kong. That is Hollie Doyle and Tom Marquand.
The highlights are probably quite obvious. You know, we both had an amazing Ascot, getting our first Royal Ascot winners.
Who Dares wins and the Grand Vizier heading up towards the line. Who Dares wins on the far side, a half length to the Grand Vizier. Who Dares wins, pulls out all the stops to win.
And then I don't know, I guess the next bit was probably you surpassing what you managed to do last year in a whole year in about 5 months. And then, like, I don't know, for me, the Ledger was probably one of the biggest days. And what, you rode 5 winners in a day?
Yeah, no, Windsor was a good day. Had 5 winners, 5 different trainers, so that was a day to remember. But Royal Ascot also was a huge day for me. I've always dreamt of riding Royal Ascot winner, and to have done it on Scarlet Dragon. He's been such a good horse for both of us, really. Yeah, it was a huge day, which is then capped with Champions Day, really, and Glen Shiel winning the Champion Sprint.
Oxted clinging on from Glen Shiel. Here's Brando as well with one master and art power. Glen Shiel far side, Brando on the near side. Oh, it's tight. Brando near side of Glen Shiel.
Yeah, I'm sort of, you know, I'm very lucky that I spent a lot of time in Australia the last few years, and I'm planning to again this year. Wherever there's good racing is wherever I'm happy to be. So, you know, this opportunity to come over to Hong Kong and ride on sort of such major race days is huge, and it's something that I hope will always be a part of my career, because you know, that going somewhere and competing is always enjoyable.
Yeah, it was. You know, I was pretty shocked that I was considered to take part, but it's going to be a huge privilege to ride alongside the likes of Ryan Moore and William Buick in such a highly thought of competition.
We've always been used to competing against each other from pony racing, so it's always felt normal, is normal.
Maybe
you know,
it would be different if we hadn't grown up in the way we did, but we're just used to it now.
But neither of us are shouters, so there's particular lads in the waiting room that you'd always know where they are because you can hear them first, but neither of us are one of them. Yeah, genuinely their prize money is something to behold for especially British racing at the moment, the situation we're in. You know, there's horses that go out there that are probably running around for 1/10 of the prize money here, and they go out there and they're able to sort of win those races that are worth small fortunes. And you know, it's just I guess one of the sort of major parts that makes Hong Kong such a sort of incredible place to go and ride or race or training known horses, whatever you do there, they've absolutely nailed it.
Tom saying all the right things about Hong Kong racing then. If you hadn't picked up on it as well, fierce competitors on the track, but partners off the track as well. Tom Marquand and Hollie Doyle. Now, the IJC on Wednesday night takes place over 4 races. Jockeys with rides in each race. They'll pick up points, obviously, depending on where they finish, first, second and third. And person with the most points wins. And there is prize money on offer this year as well for the first time for the trainers. So an early look at the entries looks like a really strong lineup for this year's IJC. The first race will be 6:30, a little bit earlier on as well. Now, as far as past winners of this contest are concerned, just looking at the most recent winners, Karis Teetan won last year. It was his first win. Sylvester de Sosa and Zach Purton, considered as local riders, really, those 3. They were here and licensed at the time. But then Hugh Bowman, Gavin Lorena as well. You go further back, the likes of Frankie Dettori, Ryan Moore, Karen McAvoy, and of course, who can forget that famous 3-way tie between Christophe Lemaire, Johnny Murtaugh and Ryan Moore as well. And that was back in 2009. Let's take it back to last year, though, 2019, and Karis Teetan with his memories of a famous win at the IJC.
It was a great experience. Of course, you know, looking back now, I still remember the day before racing when I knew I had some decent rides and with the decent draw. So everything was coming to reality and everything was, you know, getting to me. And I had to try, of course, keep my cool and you know, take it as it comes. And you know, eventually the night went on and it was a fantastic night.
Out wide of Flying Genius and G-Unit further out with Everbrave. Down they come. Leader is Flying Genius here. Flying Genius for Ryan Moore, leading over Very Sweet Orange. Happy Good Guys late, but Flying Genius wins the first. In the centre, Dream Warriors. Murray's Partners out wider. Charity Wings flashing later. Terrific finish here. Dream Warriors, Murray Partners. Dream Warriors has just won this for Teetan.
Yeah, that was, of course, I think where I won the championship with that horse. Of course, I knew him pretty well from riding him the previous time. He was not an easy horse, but from the good gate, he had a perfect position. And when he fight on, and of course I had Joe and Zach both on either side, and you know, when he got his head down, I thought, okay, that's a good start, and it sort of gave me confidence to go on to the other horses.
Magnificent on the inside for Ryan Moore. He leads here 2 lengths. Down the outside, Flying Quest is storming home for Colin Keane. A great go here. Flying Quest over the top got the prize. High Revs flying home down the outside. The Hulk, Glorious Dragon. He's dashing late to the line. Glorious Dragon got up to beat the Hulk.
Heads up, heads down, because Harry finished off pretty strongly, but you know, I knew there was a few horses on my inside. I knew, you know, I would be getting there, but I was not sure. But then when I saw the number, I was still not sure how much point I was in front, and I remember coming in, Chris Polly was like, "You won it, don't worry." So I was like all excited. But yeah, it was, you know, of course for us now looking back, it's a great experience, and it's something that I will never forget, but you know, can only get better from there.
So Karis will be back to defend his title on a Wednesday night. Ryan Moore, Vincent Hope back here. No Colin Keane this time. Neil Callan's a new name on the list, though, as well, of the local jockeys. Of the 12 competing on Wednesday night at the IJ, so she should be a fantastic competition. We'll hear from Ed Sadler and Steve Railton talk about the makeup of the competition as well in part 2. Also to come, we'll be looking ahead to Sunday's programme at Chartin, the best race on the programme. That's a Class 2 on the dirt, the final race of the day. So stay with us, plenty more to come. It's such a great day. And two of last year's winners back again. Winbright trying to remain unbeaten at Sha-Tin. He's 2 from 2 so far. And Admire Mars. Or can he break Hong Kong's hearts if he was to beat the Golden 60 and back up in the mile? Really looking forward to that week on Sunday. You can catch all the news on the website. HKR week is completely covered. Then, of course, there's track work. There was important trials on Friday morning as well for the local horses going forward to a week on Sunday. So all the news, everything you need to know. Form guide as well for Sunday's Group 1s. It's all on there at the website hkjc.com. Now, back to Wednesday nights and the IJC, and Ed Saddle has been out and about and caught up with Steve Railton as well, one of the stewards here at the Hong Kong Jockey Club, but also secretary of the licensing committee and one of the people majorly responsible for attracting this year's star riders. Here's Ed and Steve.
Well, we're a week out from the biggest night of racing of the year here at Happy Valley, Longines International Jockeys Championship night. Steve Railton, thank you for your time. What do you make of the 2020 lineup of jockeys we've got riding here next week?
Well, it's unique this year, Ed. The first time with 6 Hong Kong versus 6 international jockeys, so the makeup's a bit different. But there's no shortage of quality there, so particularly with the visiting contingent, so it's still going to present a great night of entertainment, I'm sure.
We'll expand upon those riders in a moment, but just from your role, can you tell us what role you have in bringing out these world-class jockeys to ride at Happy Valley on the Wednesday night here?
Well, I suppose I do the footwork and identify those that might be interested to participate. And, of course, then at senior management put forward the list of proposed jockeys to the racing committee. So there's a line of communication there, and, of course, we're always looking for some of the most recognisable jockeys in the world, and we always like to try to introduce some new faces, which we're doing this year with Tom Marquand and Hollie Doyle.
What challenges has 2020 brought about in trying for you to get these jockeys to Hong Kong in the first place?
Well, I think with travel arrangements and a lot of jockeys in some countries found it difficult to commit because of the fact that they have to do quarantine on the way home. And early doors, when we were looking to entice jockeys to come here, there was even the prospect of doing quarantine on the way in. So that wasn't very appealing to a lot of jockeys, and of course they've got family commitments and commitments to retaining owners. But early on it was quite apparent that because there's no return quarantine, a lot of the European jockeys were keen to commit. So the club focused on this year bringing in the leading European jockeys.
So 2020, a unique year, 6 Hong Kong jockeys, 6 visiting jockeys from overseas. Let's touch on the visitors. Hollie Doyle and Tom Marquand. What a year it's been for them. That's a huge coup to have them coming here.
Yeah, it is. I think it'll be a great point of interest. Tom Marquand's had an amazing 12 or 18 months, and he's somebody that the club have tried to entice to come here as a club jockey. But, of course, he's had a great lot of success in Australia, and he's committed to go back there this year. But certainly both Hollie and Tom had a breakout year, particularly at the British Champions Day, where they rode, I think, 4 winners between them. And so, no, they come here in good form, and they're both emerging stars, both of them.
And in your role as the secretary for the licensing committee, do you try to use the IJC as a bit of a taster for these overseas jockeys for what Hong Kong racing's like, to entice them to come back for a longer-term stint down the track?
Yeah, for sure. The club quite rightly use it as a vehicle to identify those types of jockeys. Probably the best case is Joe Moreira in 2010. I think after his first championship win in Singapore, he was relatively unheralded at that stage on the international scene, and we had invited Joe to participate in the 2010 IJC. He came back in 2012. And won the IJC, and then soon after took up the challenge to come here on a full-time basis. And of course, everybody knows he's gone on to be one of the recognised as one of the best jockeys in the world. So, yeah, I think that's a good point where, you know, Joe had a taste of Hong Kong racing and eventually took up the challenge to be here full-time.
And just as we've said before, 2020 such a unique year for so many reasons, the 6 split, but also the way the rides are allocated. Steve, can you just explain how this year is going to be different with that?
Well, Tom Chignell and the team have developed a system that's meant to provide a more even spread of rides, because up until this year it was done on a random basis, but even on a random basis certain jockeys could draw 4 relatively good chances, and there's been examples of other international jockeys coming and drawing 4 relative outsiders, which is not a great prospect when you're travelling halfway around the world. So the system in place this year promises to offer a lot more even contest. So in the instance of a jockey who draws a favourite in one leg, it would be that his other rides would not fall into that same category. So it's about trying to spread the opportunities around, and jockeys that participate feel like they've got a chance.
For you on a personal level, this will be the last IJC that you work at here at the Hong Kong Jockey Club. You've seen the likes of Frankie Dettori, Hugh Bowman, Ryan Moore, just to name a few, lift that trophy. When you look back, what's been some of the memorable moments that you've seen on this night?
My first year was 2009, and it was a triple dead heat between Ryan Moore, Christophe Lemaire and Johnny Murtagh. So that was a good one to start with, and it's one of the events I look forward to every year. Like yourself, love racing, and it's one of the best nights racing of the season. So always look forward to it. And again, I suppose 2013, I think, when Frankie, he rode a few winners that night and had a great night. That was a pretty exciting night. But look, it's a great event every year, regardless of who participates, because we always get some of the best jockeys in the world and some of the up-and-coming jockeys, and this year will be no exception.
It looks a great balance, doesn't it, on paper, the jockeys taking part in this year's IJC. We thank Steve for his time and wish him well also in pastures new. So Wednesday night, of course, for the IJC. Now, as far as the weekend is concerned, we're heading to Sha Tin, but a week out from HKIR, we've got the first 4 races on the dirt, the next 4 on the turf, then we finish off with 2 on the all-weather as well. IJC Wednesday, and of course, next Sunday is the Group 1 day, the sprint, the mile, the cup and the Vase. You can catch all the build-up as well across a variety of channels. Again, go to the website to find out all the details of the extra programming that happens next week. But speaking of the weekend, final race on the programme is a Class 2 of the 1200 metres on the dirt. Guy Dragon's a really interesting run, and we caught up with Casper Founds at Trackwork to find out his chances heading into the weekend.
He's going good. I'm just concentrating on keeping at a shorter distance, which seems to be very effective with him. He won first up from me at the Valley, 1200, and then I stretched him to Sha Tin, and he ran just okay. Freshened him up, brought him back to the Valley, and he got the job done again. Obviously now he's up in Class 2, rated 82, and basically, first time on the dirt. I think he'll handle it because he's had some decent trials on it, and from a good gate in Gate 2. Obviously, it's a bit of a test because he's up in class but down in weight. And I'm just trying to give myself some more options with the horse. And if he takes to the dirt surface, well, at least we've got another option with him.
Do you think he's got more rating points in hand?
Oh, I'd have to say he's pretty much at his mark, really. I've done my job, And but like anything, if they can go on a different surface and improve, well, then you have a chance to snag another win.
And I think he's got that on the weekend as well. If you had a look at the start of that trial, he was actually really keen, didn't settle all that well for his rider, but still finished off strongly. That was before he won at Happy Valley, so came out and won there. I think he's interesting. Top weight is Willpower in that race, who's 5 from 8 course and distance. It'll be a tough nut to crack, but Guy Dragon's getting 13 pounds off him, and Casper Sounds absolutely flying with 31 winners so far this season. That's 10 clear of his nearest rival. So look out for that, the last race of the day on Sunday. But that's all we've got time for next week. Can't wait for next week. We're going to leave you, though, with one of the highlights from 2011, and Frankie Dettori was in rare form on this night. His last win, in actual fact, at the IJC. So enjoy this. We'll see you again on Sunday and all next week for HKR as well. We'll bring all the action from Hong Kong direct to you.
As they race to the post the first time. Now Lucky Warrior, Lemaire, is pushing away from the fence. He didn't get the leaders back, so Lemaire's come one off, turning out of the straight. This has put Jimson the best a bit deeper as they turn out of the straighter. Going along the inside, the newcomer Silver Flower inside Fluke. Then Regency winner from Star of Fame, Nordic Star. And Summer Dash has been switched off at the rear by Ryan Moore as they work to the back. And Winner Dozen in the lead section at 28.2, heads them up past 1,000. Leads from Perfect Gear. Douglas White has him travelling, or Dr. Wynn travelling in second. Trey Magnifique third. And Lucky Warrior, well, from the inside lower draw. He's ended up 3 wide going down the back, Lucky Warrior. On the outside of Perfect Gear, Jemson the Best gets onto the back of Lucky Warrior 3 wide, then Silver Flower, the fence fluke between them. Then Regency winner, Dettori's got 3 runners behind him, Nordic Star, Star of Fame, and Summer Dash is being revved up at the rear of the field. Leaving the back, Winner Dozen is the leader. Preble starting to get itchy fingers on Dr. Wen. He's been heavily back going after the leader. Trey Magnifique pushed along by Guion in third. Perfect Gear pulling out. Lucky Warrior's done it tough as they turn into the straight now. And Dr. Wen puts his head in front from Winner Dozen. Clear from Perfect Gear, Trey Magnifique, but Dr. Wen forges to the lead. Preble riding for dear life on Dr. Wen, but here come the swoopers. Dettori's got the split on Regency Winner. Nordic Star with the last shot of them for Chadwick, but Regency Winner's pulling away, and Frankie Dettori wins the Jockey Championship.